But here's the thing. If you're going to be a great storyteller with your people, you tell them this story. And this is probably when it comes to recruiting or growth, and you want to use a system like Rise or any other lead generation platform or product or whatever it is that you do in your teams, one of the dialogues for us in the story is, listen, I'm going to be like the rich aunt for you, or the rich uncle. You're going to go and you're going to have a dream to start a restaurant. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pay for everything. And you're only going to share money with me on nights that the restaurant was busy. Meaning you're only going to share money with me as a real estate agent because we work on cuts or splits, shares. You're only going to share money with me on months that you have closings. On the months that you don't, I've got it. On the months that you don't, I've got you. Don't you worry about this. You go and work on the business. And you have to get people to understand what that looks like, because there's going to be a month that they're super busy. And each one of us has had that person who does okay. They get into a system like Rise with us, and all of a sudden they have 5 deals. And that's the next person who comes to you and says, I'm thinking about going out on my own. Because they have 1 month with 4 deals. And you're like, hang on a second. The last 8 months that you were sucking tailpipes, the last 8 months that you were sucking wind, what happened there? Like, we have to help people understand where they are.
The guy who talked me into getting into real estate showed me a $12,000 check. And I remember looking at him and thinking, if this idiot can do that, like, the sky's the limit for me. I'm not great at math, but 12 times 2, if you get paid twice a month, is 20 something. But what he didn't tell me, what he didn't say, was that son of a gun hadn't sniffed a check in 6 months. He left that part out. And so I, like you, found myself at a real estate company going, what the hell have I done? And so at the end of the day for me, I know real clear that I wake up every day and the company that I'm associated with wants me more than I want them as an agent. So let's be clear with that. We all have choices. And at the end of the day, we all vote with our money. We vote with where we send our money. We vote with what we buy. We vote with where we support it, where we send it, who cashes the check. And at the end of the day, I'm really good with the fact that who ultimately I send money to, which would be Gary, through other people making money. And the whole franchise thing, like, when has it ever been a bad idea to own something that you can actually sell to somebody else? Like, in my world, I don't know, man. I made it to the second quarter of 10th grade to not go back. They don't make people like me doctors, which is good. They don't make people like me lawyers. I become a sales guy. And I find myself at a company that has a ceiling so big that I can't possibly outgrow it. And I find myself at a company where somebody wakes up, I'll just pick on Gary, he's not in the room. Gary wakes up and he thinks, how do I be a better real estate agent today? How do I sell more homes? How do I do more business? And that's who I want to be associated with. So for me, that's like everything in my world rises and falls there, but I'm real good about who I'm in business with.
And you look at quite frankly, for those of us that are running teams, right? The majority of our people, at least in the beginning, they would never have some of the things you put in front of them. Like, you're handing most of them keys to a Ferrari, but in their business so far, most of them have earned the right to ride a bicycle. Not a Ferrari.
True.
And that's fine. Like that, but remember, like, that's the dialogue. And you tell people, listen, when you come and you work with me and you get in business with me, we're going to take a 5 or a 10-year leap in your business.
What would happen is I'd run a really small team and I'd create a lot of producers. And so when one would leave, it would really affect your business, because it wasn't like 20 deals or 30 deals. It was a chunk of deals walking out the door. And so it was a lot of it. It was through coaching. I have a phenomenal coach. He's a mutual friend of ours, Brett Tanner. He's fantastic. It was through a lot of coaching, different mastermind groups, that I was like, you know what, I can do this. I don't necessarily, I can attract people and we can train them. And what's different than training one person to 5? And so that's really the model of where we just decided to scale it. The pivoting point, which I'm giving a shout out, is I took Viral Marketing's recruiting course, Frank Kleswitz. I call him,
Frank's my guy.
He's a genius.
Yeah. Yep.
So I took his recruiting course, and from there, the rest has been history.
Success and production brings attraction, brings influence. So let's talk a little about Spring Benson, the rock star, agent slash elite team leader that you are. You guys
Yeah.
do 650 deals last 12-month run rate. Is that
Yeah,
about right?
we're on pace for that. Yep. Yeah. It's been fun.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So we run a team of, we have about 30 agents out of 20 minutes north of Salt Lake County. I've had a team for, gosh, probably about 10 years. And it wasn't until a few years ago that we got serious about taking it to that next level. And it was because I was in, I think all of you team leaders can resonate with this, of that messy middle where you're like, okay, wait a minute. I have all the expenses, all the lead gen to go to that next level. But I ultimately, like, I have to make a decision. Do I go stay here, or do I go back to being a solo agent and just crush it? Or do I go and recruit like crazy? And so we decided that we were going to go attract agents and scale. And it's been a super fun ride, and it's just getting started.
As a team person now, you're realizing, man, I got a lot of people that I could help. I got a lot of people I could influence.
Yeah.
And now I'm not driven by, oh, here's my little geo box of 12 miles from this one to the next franchise or whatever. You can go anywhere you want in the world and help people with real estate. And that's kind of appealing to you, isn't it?
Yeah, that's 100% why I chose this model. So a little back history, like you said, I was at KW, and then I opened up my own real estate firm. And then when I got into it, I'm like, wow, I am attracting a lot of agents, but it's in my little bubble. And I know that I have so much more to offer than just in this 20-mile radius of people wanting to come to my brick and mortar. And so we really started looking at, I'm like, how can we scale and what model makes the most sense? We could go and we could leverage our relationships and our networks and create something massive instead of just being in our little 20-mile bubble of Davis County, Utah. So
well, what 3 things you got to do right away if you're going to build a real estate practice or business that works?
Okay, so as a woman,
yes.
One, okay, so if you are, if you have children, get over the mom guilt. Like, you have to hire somebody to help take care of your kids or have it arranged, and just know that, yeah, you're going to be working a lot at first, but it's because you're going to be creating a really cool, awesome life for them. And it's that foundation. So one is make sure you have childcare, and just get over the fact that it's going to be okay. And the more that you grow, the less that will have to happen, but there is that sacrifice at first. Second thing I would say is also still setting that expectation with yourself and your husband as well, because I can't tell you how many Valentines I missed back in the day when I sold resort real estate. Valentine's is over President's weekend. And so it'd be like Valentine's dinner, and the client walks in and you're like, oh shit, I am so sorry. I missed our date. But and the other side of that was that it provided a really great lifestyle that it just, like I said, be unapologetic of, hey, we'll make up for it. The other thing is I would say, I know this is hard, but if you can have some type of nest egg that you're not desperate, I don't care if you're a male or a female, but that stress that comes from feeling like, oh my God, I gotta make this. Like, I'm a fan of burning the boats 100%. Like, you have to go all in. This is not a part-time job. Make sure you have the money that you can do that. So you have to make sure that you can go full time, that you are all in, and that you are financially okay that you can do it. And then the other thing I would just say is join a team, which I know sounds cliche because I own a team, but it is so hard to get going on your own. And why try to like go through the trenches on your own? Like, come team up with somebody like myself or someone else that we can plug you in to a model that works and get you into production immediately, that you can have the opportunity to feel the success instead of trying to fumble through. And I also, I guess too, other thing, Steve, is I believe that women are powerful. I believe that you can have it all. I believe like you just have to be willing to put it out there. And so the whole like male female thing, I believe I have more opportunities than most males. So I would just tell them to own it and make it happen.
It's crazy how fast real estate is changing in the last 24-ish months, meaning the landscape of all of it. We've got all this money. You've got Open Door now trying to buy a portal, trying to become more of a Zillow. The iBuyer thing was a good story, but everybody knows it doesn't match. So you got to use it. So where's your macro at? What are you focusing on first the next 6 months? And what do you think's coming the next 2 years? And where are you at with that?
Yeah, well, I love the iBuyers right now because they're in a
Yeah,
pissing contest with each other, and
they
it
are.
benefits me and it benefits my clients. I don't know if any of you guys have submitted a request to the main three at OfferPad, Open Door, and Zillow. They are paying stupid prices right now, like absolutely stupid prices for properties. I just did one in my neighborhood. The last model match sold at 590. I submitted a request to them. They're paying 653 with a 1% fee on it. So they're paying more than 10% above the last model match comp with only a 1% fee. It's insane. Well, guess what? They're only charging a 1% fee. I tacked my 5% fee on top of that. The client's stoked because he's now getting 653 with a 6% fee versus 590 with a 6% fee. My client thinks I'm a friggin' hero right now because I got this place sold. He didn't have to show it one time, didn't have to make one repair, didn't have to do an open house, got to pick his close date, could even stay a few days after his close date, and he's going to get $63,000 more than what I was likely going to be able to get him on the market. Like, that's crazy. So if you guys aren't working with these guys, like, get it out of your head that they're your competitor, they're taking your business. They'll cooperate with you. You just tack your fee on top of their fee, present it to the client appropriately, and it's a home run. Yeah, so I mean, the biggest thing that I see with opportunities like an Opsidia, Ojo, things like this is that, number one, it takes off a huge line item off of the profit and loss statement. So as soon as I can take off a large expense, I think between all the different channel partners or referral partners that we work with, we probably eliminated over $40,000 a month in expenses, which is huge. I mean, that's a huge thing when you can eliminate that off of your balance sheet. And then once you eliminate that, or off your profit and loss statement, once you eliminate that off of your profit and loss statement, you have a few opportunities that present themselves. If you've been running a very unprofitable company, congratulations, you're now making a profit. If you're running a profitable company and you know how to invest your money, you could say spend, I say invest. If you can think about smart ways to invest that money, you can now exponentially increase the income that's coming in, because you can now reallocate that to a variety of different things, whether that's hiring additional staff, whether that's moving that spend to another lead generation source, whether that's building out a huge branding campaign and doing things like billboards and radio and TV and bus benches. Like, there's so many things that you can now take that expense that you eliminated and either eliminate it completely or reallocate it to increase your income exponentially. So for us, it's been much more of a reallocation so that we can continue the same expense, but now we can exponentially increase that income. Agents did not get in this business to be on the phone 2, 3, 4 hours a day. That's just not why they got their real estate license. They want to go show houses. They want to go close deals. Like, that's what they want to do. So we've just tried to strip away all of those leads that are top and middle of funnel. We try to focus on using technology at the top of funnel. So that would be Facebook leads, pay-per-click leads, stuff like that. We try to use AI and automation to get people to raise their hand and actually engage with us. And then when they engage, we try to infuse the ISA at that point, let the ISA take somebody from engagement to appointment. And then our agent's job is to take it from appointment to contract. So we've tried to break it into 3 buckets. And we look at an Opsidia and an Ojo as the ISA, because they're generating the lead. They're using AI and automation to get the person to engage. They're taking that person from engagement to live transfer, which is, similar to an appointment, and then giving it to the agent. So we really want our agents just taking live transfers and appointments.
What I love is you almost made this kind of part of your business model, because you really went away from buying a bunch of leads and betting to actually becoming a member and engaging it more from a success rate side, because your ROI was better. You could teach and coach to it better. So talk a little bit about that transition from just buying leads to actually becoming more of a referral partner based partnership in your company and your teams.
Sure. So we started off on Opcity, and I found out quickly, we had a Zillow team. I had my best converters on that team, and we were having a better success rate with Opcity. And being I was paying for Zillow and Opcity was paid for success, trying to be a better model for us. And with all the changes Zillow was making, constantly and everything. We thought was a good time to transition out of that and really focus on the pay for success models. And I believe between the two markets we're in, we're on 4 different pay for success models now, including with Rise. We have, Ojo as well as OpCity, and we've got a couple others as well. And we're trying to add to that as we go. The idea is to gobble up as many leads as we can, and take away from the other offices and agents in the market as we can. So, and that's part of the coaching process too, because the better their click ratio and everything else they're doing, the more opportunities we're going to get, and therefore take more market share. Yeah, one thing I find too is you're recruiting agents that aren't getting leads from their current brokerages, and we're putting them into these platforms, and all of a sudden you're getting a ton of leads. And even though it's a referral fee based, they go from 0 to getting multiple leads a week. So it's great transition, and it's good for as far as them wanting to recruit and bring other people in as well.
Right from the beginning, that you're able to make their phone ring. You're going to put opportunities in their hands with real consumers on the phone, not a Google lead, not a Facebook lead. Walk us through that pitch, and when you sit in front of an agent, what you say, how you say.
Well, I mean, first we have that's a tough one because we have so many lead programs. So with our company, we have leads coming in on a rotation basis. So it's like the OpCity, all this stuff's voluntary for them. I don't want to put them on unless they're going to execute, because it doesn't look good for us either, and it drags down the rest of my team. But what we're doing is a lot of people I meet recruiting, that either on a team or they're getting leads, paying a very, very stiff split, which some of you probably on this call have teams in doing that. And then others are not getting leads at all. They're getting no support at all. And what happens is when I can throw these in front of them, and what I do is I have a separate presentation for leads alone, and I show the different platforms. I talk about what they do, what they mean, and how you can build a business from it. And then I have a chart, and I break down our different lead platforms, and I say, okay, our average beginner agents do this range of closings on this particular platform, or experienced ones do this one. And in the end, I add it all up. Now, not all my agents excel on every platform or do every platform, but the potential's there. I follow that with a blank page that has that same chart with like, what will you do? So it gets them to start thinking about what they could do with all these different lead programs.
Walk us through how you're using this to recruit people into your network.
So for recruiting, it's easy. We simply said, you join our team, we're going to give you customers. And then you back it up on your recruiting page. Like we have a landing page, Steve, like a funnel. So on that landing page, you put testimonials of other real estate agents in your team. Basically, testimonial is going to be something like this. Oh my gosh, before I joined Steve, the LaViaga team, I was in business for 5 years. Life sucks, right? I'm doing cold calling, prospecting, door knocking. I get chased by a dog. After I joined Steve's team, Steve provides me with abundance customers every single day. Oh my gosh, I make an extra 100,000 in the last 7 months. Did absolutely no cold calling, no prospecting. My life completely changed. Thank you, Steve. That's it. So it's a simple real life testimonials that we put. So on the recruiting page, Steve, before we do, so I host a weekly, we call it like a virtual backstage tour of our team. Essentially, it's a Zoom meeting like this every Tuesday at 10 o'clock. But before people show up on Tuesday at 10 o'clock, they watch all these testimonials. They already understand how the team system works. So by the time they come in on Tuesday at 10 o'clock, I go through the details, and then Chelsea set up the real expectation, the metrics, right? The KPI, meaning if I give you 100 customers, I give you 100 phone to ring, what's the expectation from answer rate, and then appointments rate, how many you write an offers, and conversion. So we set that KPI up front. So that way, later on, if we have to disengage, for example, then it's nothing personal, right? Because it's all based on the numbers. But those are all we set it up at the recruiting events, but we don't call it recruiting events. I call it every Tuesday at 10 o'clock. We call it our 90 minutes masterclass. It's a virtual backstage tour of our team where actually I walk them one by one. The good thing about Steve here and this program is that there is no limit, right? Like he can turn you on, he can turn us on in any market. So the customer is not an issue. The problem is if your operation is like if you don't have a step-by-step system, then nothing's gonna work.
Let me walk you through a tangible like component that you can start to integrate into your business. So let's imagine that the inside sales team takes on an inquiry. Might be a web form, it might be a radio lead, opposite, it could be anything. Takes on an inquiry, and sets up an appointment for Thursday at 3 with an agent because it sounded qualified enough. Agent goes out. First of all, our inside sales agent is paid not a percentage of deal. They're paid a fee for a qualified appointment, meaning our agent met a qualified buyer who's in a 90-day window and that's ready to transact in that 90 days.
And the decision makers have to be present at the meeting or you don't pay the ISA, correct?
100%. So our agent's going to report back if those things were true, and then we're going to pay the ISA their appointment fee or not. But now here's the beauty I want to share with you. Let's imagine inside sales sets up that appointment and it was kind of borderline, but you know what? We're also in the relationship of getting belly to belly with people, meeting people, and like meeting them is better than not meeting them, even if it wasn't maybe the most perfectly qualified appointment. That's cool. Agent goes out, meets with them, builds a nice little relationship, discovers that they're 9 months out. That lead gets dispositioned in a way within our CRM that goes right back to the inside sales team as unqualified. So that ISA did not get paid there. But what essentially happened is that the ISA is the one responsible for follow-up until they are in a 90-day window, right? Well, essentially what happened is the ISA kicked it out to the agent. The agent has basically done the ISA, a favor or like buddied up with them, right? Like the agent goes out, builds that relationship even further, kicks it right back to the inside sales agent. Now inside sales is following up for theoretically the next 6 months, because I said 9 months out, right? So for the next 6 months, and then we'll set that appointment right back for that agent. And maybe the timelines change as we know. So maybe 4 months from now, that person's actually ready. They'll set it right back for that agent. That agent will meet with them, say, yep, they really are 90 days out now, and they'll qualify it. They'll say qualified now that ISA gets paid. So anytime that you're going to give me the opportunity to give up 90% of or to get back 90% of my time in exchange for 40% of my income, that's literally, I'm all day long. Then that was 2014. Today, like my game hasn't changed. All I'm trying to do is find an opportunity to do that over and over and over and over again. I will always trade 40% of my income for 90% of my time. So when you give me 90% of my time back, I thought, I'm going to have to figure out how to get listings or I'm going to starve to death. Well, I figured that out. Right. And so within, it was 2 or so short years, we were listing more property than anyone in the county.